Good day. In this video, we cover the international and national implementation of the International Oil Pollution Prevention (IOPP) certificate, including Malaysia's procedures and how they apply to the oil tanker UMBOLE. At the international level, the International Oil Pollution Prevention (IOPP) certificate is one of the most crucial components of the global marine environmental protection system established under the International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships, MARPOL 73/78. This convention, administered by the International Maritime Organization, IMO, a specialized agency of the United Nations, UN, sets out uniform technical and operational standards to prevent pollution from ships. The IMO, founded in 1948, aligns its mission with the UN Sustainable Development Goal, SDG 14, Life Below Water, which focuses on conserving and sustainably managing marine and coastal ecosystems. The MARPOL Convention, originally adopted in 1973, was subsequently strengthened by the Protocol of 1978, giving rise to the comprehensive regime known as MARPOL 73/78. This amendment followed a series of catastrophic tanker accidents during the 1970s that exposed the urgent need for stronger pollution control measures. According to Article 5, entry into force of the 1978 Protocol, the convention would become effective 12 months after not fewer than 15 states, representing at least 50% of the world's merchant fleet tonnage, had become parties in accordance with Article 4. Once this condition was fulfilled, any subsequent ratifications or accessions took effect 3 months after deposit, while future amendments accepted under Article 16 of the Convention would automatically apply to states ratifying thereafter. After these thresholds were met, MARPOL 73/78 entered into force globally on October 2, 1983, representing a pivotal advancement in international maritime environmental law. As of 2025, 161 states are parties to MARPOL, representing 98.47% of global shipping tonnage. Malaysia ratified MARPOL on January 31, 1997, with the convention entering into force domestically on May 1, 1997, thereby binding Malaysia to implement all relevant annexes, including Annex 1 Regulation for the Prevention of Pollution by Oil. Under Annex 1, Regulation 6, all oil tankers of 150 gross tonnage (GT) and above and ships other than oil tankers of 400 GT and above must undergo a series of surveys and certifications to ensure compliance with oil pollution prevention standards. These include an initial survey before the ship enters service, a renewal survey every 5 years, an intermediate survey between the second and third anniversaries, and an annual survey within 3 months of each anniversary. These surveys verify that critical pollution control systems, including oil filtering equipment, sludge tanks, oily water separators, discharge monitoring equipment, and crude oil washing systems, are fully operational and well-maintained. Following successful completion of these surveys, Regulation 7 mandates the issuance of an IOPP certificate confirming compliance with MARPOL Annex 1. This certificate is issued either by the Flag Administration, Malaysia Marine Department, through the Surveyor General of Ships, or one of the 11 recognized organizations, RO, authorized to act on its behalf. Ships that operate solely within domestic waters and fall below the international tonnage threshold may instead be issued an IPP, non-convention, certificate, which applies the same principles locally. The validity of the IOPP certificate, under Regulation 10, shall not exceed 5 years, but extensions are permissible in limited circumstances. When a renewal survey occurs within 3 months before expiry, the new certificate remains valid for 5 years from the original expiry. If the renewal occurs after expiry, validity runs from the date of a new survey. Moreover, if a certificate cannot be reissued in time after survey completion, the current one may be endorsed and extended for up to 5 months. The Director of Marine may also authorize short-term extensions, up to 3 months to reach a survey port and 1 month for short voyages. Together, these provisions preserve legal validity while at the same time upholding environmental accountability. At the national level, Malaysia enforces MARPOL Annex 1 primarily through the Merchant Shipping Ordinance, MSO, 1952, supported by a structured framework of Malaysia Shipping Notices, MSN, issued by the Marine Department of Malaysia. Together, these MSN translate Malaysia's international obligations into detailed technical, operational, and administrative requirements for oil pollution prevention. Central to this framework is MSN 39/2008, which announces Malaysia's implementation of MARPOL Annex 1 and outlines the national requirements for surveys, certification, and pollution prevention procedures applicable to Malaysian flag vessels. This notice ensures that every Malaysian flag vessel undergoes the full cycle of initial, annual, intermediate, and renewal IPP surveys, maintaining strict conformity with IMO-mandated performance and structural standards. Complementing these certification procedures, MSN 19/2011 prescribes the engineering and operational requirements for machinery-space sludge systems. It sets out specifications for sludge tank arrangements, discharge connections, pumping and heating systems, and the approved methods for processing oily residues. By mandating the proper handling, incineration, recycling, or disposal of sludge to shore reception facilities, the notice ensures that oily waste management on board Malaysian vessels remains fully compliant with MARPOL Annex 1 pollution prevention principles. To safeguard the integrity of aging tanker tonnage, MSN 41/2008 announces that the amendment to Annex I of MARPOL has entered into force, making the Condition Assessment Scheme (CAS) mandatory within Malaysian waters as of that date. In parallel, MSN 42/2008 reinforces Malaysia's adoption of the CAS, following IMO Resolution MEPC.94/46. This notice applies to oil tankers exceeding 15 years of age and lays out enhanced survey requirements, structural condition evaluations, and documentation procedures to verify that older vessels continue to meet stringent standards of hull robustness and pollution prevention capability. By integrating CAS into the national regime, Malaysia ensures that increased tanker age does not compromise environmental protection. The regulatory framework is further modernized through MSN 23/2020, which introduces the use of electronic record books on Malaysian registered vessels. An electronic record book refers to a device or system, approved by the administration, that electronically records the required entries for discharges, transfers, and other operations under Annex 1 in place of a hard copy record book, as stated in Regulation 1/39 of Annex 1 to MARPOL 73/78. The notice authorizes the RO to review and approve the electronic record book systems used on board. Once the RO is satisfied that the system meets the required standards, it will issue a declaration of electronic record book to the vessel on behalf of the Malaysia Marine Department. The notice also requires ship owners, managers, and crew to be fully familiar with the use, maintenance, and safekeeping of electronic record books, which become officially valid only after the declaration has been issued. According to Resolution MEPC.314/74, the electronic record book under Annex 1 of MARPOL 73/78 covers the Oil Record Book Part 1, Machinery Space Operations, and Part 2, Cargo or Ballast Operations. Collectively, these MSN operate as an integrated enforcement mechanism. According to Section 81, MSO 1952, any owner of a ship who fails to comply with an MSN issued by the Malaysia Marine Department will be liable to a fine not exceeding 25,000 ringgit for each ship in respect of which an offense is committed. The oil tanker UUM Boleh, owned by UUM Oil Tanker SDN, BHD, is a Malaysian flag vessel registered at the Port of Penang. The main particulars of the vessel are shown in the table. Its ship name is UUM Boleh. It is an oil tanker flying the Malaysian flag, with Penang as its port of registry. The keel was laid on March 7, 2005, and the vessel has a gross tonnage, GT, of 28,927 and a deadweight of 39,276 tons. It carries the IMO number 9315848 and is classed with the Korean register, KR. In terms of dimensions, the ship has a length overall, LOA, of 222.17 meters, a molded breadth of 30.00 meters, and a molded depth of 16.80 meters. Regulation 7.1 in Chapter 2 of Annex 1 of MARPOL states that an IOPP certificate shall be issued to any oil tanker of 150 gross tonnage and above and any other ship with 400 gross tonnage and above that engages in voyages to ports or offshore terminals under the control of other parties to the current convention. As UUM Boleh is an oil tanker ship with 28,927 GT, more than 150 GT, as mentioned in Regulation 7.1, the vessel must comply with MARPOL Annex 1, which includes construction standards and operational procedures to prevent oil pollution. Therefore, the IOPP certificate is required and shall be obtained. If UUM Boleh engages in operations at Penang Port, the IOPP certificate must be presented to flag state control officers during their onboard inspection. Failure to maintain valid certification may result in detention, denial of port entry, or fines under Section 81 of the MSO 1952, which imposes penalties of up to 25,000 ringgit per vessel for non-compliance, with MSN 39/2008, which requires all Malaysian ships to comply with MARPOL Annex 1.